I want to bring up the issue of that there's so many people getting near 60 or even in their 60s that haven't saved anything for retirement. And I'm assuming that for a lot of people in that position that they think, well, it's too late now to do anything. And I want to let you know it's not. There are things you can do, and I'm going to kind of go over a few of these things you can be doing. Now, you're in a position where you have to do something more drastic than just save a couple of $100 a month. What you got to look at is, what do I have in assets right now? You may have a house with a lot of equity in it, and your solution, for a quick solution may be to sell that house and downsize. You've probably heard this 100 times, but it's a realistic thing you can do. Sell off everything you don't use. Have garage sales, go on Facebook or Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever you need to do. Go find all those things that you have that you're not using and sell them, whether it's a motorcycle, a boat, a trailer, anything. Golf clubs, fishing equipment, guns, I don't care what it is. You need to start selling off the things that you're not using. An example of something like this is that, my brother, one of my older brother, didn't save a lot for retirement, but he did buy a motorcycle he doesn't use, and he bought a bunch of woodworking equipment that he doesn't use that could be sold off and put and used for investments. Now, I've always been the type that once I stop using something, I sell it. I don't let it linger around and lose value. You may have a storage building full of crap in it. You're paying to store that crap. You need to get rid of it. Sell it all off and stop renting a building you don't need. You may have a garage full of stuff that you're not using that's stacked up. You may need to go through it and start selling off whatever you can and try to convert as much as you can into money to go into investments and savings. And a lot of people don't want to do this, but get a part-time job. Do it with the purpose that part-time job does nothing but go into savings. Now, you can use it to pay off high-interest debt. Anything you do to lower your debt level, especially high-interest debt level, the better. So you can use it towards that, but you got to have a focus on that money for nothing more than increasing your net worth and your savings. You also may need to consider that even once you're collecting Social Security, that you still try to maintain a part-time job and hopefully the money you get from Social Security will almost take care of a lot of your bills. Between me and my wife, ours pretty much covers our bills. Now, we have a paid-for house. We live in a fairly low cost of living area. And that's another thing you may consider, is moving somewhere where the cost of living is less, property taxes and all that other stuff. Now, a lot of you, that's not an option because you want to stay near family. But if you're living in places like New York and California, you really may need to try to move, even if it's a few hundred miles away, and then just visit. But you need to get out of a high cost of living area. Now, I'm someone that come from running a small business since 1989. And I got to the point where I couldn't stand it anymore. I hated running a business. It wasn't that I necessarily hated the work I did, but I could not stand running a business. I couldn't stand dealing with the clientele any longer. Now, I had a good clientele, but they still put a lot of pressure on you all the time. There was always that pressure. There was always, expectations. And aside from that, I did not want to deal with the government forms and bureaucracy anymore. I just got tired of the whole business end of my business. So I understand that people don't want to work extra hours and they don't want to work past, any later than they feel like they have to. But in some cases, you may have to. You may need to take on an extra job. You may need to work till you're 67 to 70. I would have hated to have to done that. I'm 64. I retired a couple of weeks ago, and the idea that I would work another year or two just made me want to throw up. And like I said, it's not the work, it's the idea that I had to do it in a business form. Now, or that I had to be somewhere at a certain time all the time and do a certain amount of stuff at it. And, I didn't like the pressure and the deadlines any longer. I could easily, just on a one-by-one basis, go and do a side job. And it could be anything. It could be mowing lawns. It could be even coming from my vocation. I actually, a week and a half ago, or about a week ago, went ahead and did a job for a client. I went ahead and did this job, just as a one-time thing. It wasn't something I had to do. It was just something I didn't mind doing. It was a type of job that I made good money on, so I went ahead and did it. There are a few of my customers that I really don't mind working with, and I'll probably do a little side job here and there, hopefully no more than one a month, maybe one every 2 months. But it'll just be a way for me to make extra cash, and I won't mind doing that. Now, what I don't want to do is say I have to go in every Monday or every Tuesday or every Wednesday, every week. I don't want to do that again. But if I had the opportunity to go mow a lawn or, help someone out with a one-day job or something like that, it's just side money. I have no problem with doing that. This YouTube channel, well, not this YouTube channel, but I've got a fishing channel and an upholstery channel that I still earn money from. It's not much. I think I'm making on average around $400 a month between the two. Now, I haven't posted at my upholstery channel in forever because I can't stand doing upholstery videos. I don't enjoy that. And even though it would have been my most lucrative probably way to make money in YouTube, I just don't want to do it because I don't like doing upholstery, for one, especially something I had to make my living at, and then trying to film it and enjoy editing it. No, I don't do that. I don't like it. Fishing, on the other hand, I enjoy doing that, and I enjoy filming it and I enjoy editing it. I'm hoping that someday that these videos will get monetized, and because I enjoy this. I enjoy giving my experience that I have over the years, how retirement looks in my world. And if it is a benefit to you, great, you'll watch the videos. If not, fine, I'm going to do this as a hobby anyway. It's not about not working at all. You can work during retirement, hopefully no more than part-time. But in some cases, if you haven't saved any money, you may need to dedicate 1 or 2 years or 3 years of nothing but saving that money to get some kind of nest egg that can be a good buffer for you going into retirement. Now, me and my wife, we're trying to live on just our Social Security. We do have Roth accounts, and she has a 401k at the bank that she still works at, and she'll be working for another year. Me, on the other hand, all I've got is my Social Security, and I've got a little bit of YouTube income, and plus whatever I do on the side. Find some little thing you can do where you can make a few extra bucks on your own time, the way you want to do it. That's out there. Those are possibilities. You might even start a YouTube channel. There's a lot of people doing this that are getting successful pretty quick. You may have the personality for it. Me, I don't. I've never really succeeded in YouTube. I've managed to get monetized, but most of the money I make on YouTube is not from my fishing videos or any of the videos that I want to do. It comes from like restorations of boats and stuff that, are searchable that people want to see. So I'll make money on stuff like that. So occasionally I'll try to throw in one of these videos so that it'll possibly get more, get the views that will actually supply some income. There are all kinds of channels out there that'll advise you on how to invest, how to save, how to get prepared for retirement. I have some experience in this, but there's plenty of them out there that'll give you more experience. Some of these are financial planners. Some of them are just people that, that had good saving skills and investment skills. I'm not one of those guys. I did save money, and I did at least, invest in regular investments like mutual funds, and we have accrued, some retirement money. One other thing that I managed to accomplish was paying off a building that I worked in. So, and that's going to provide me income. But I'm no expert on how to prepare for retirement, other than you need to dedicate some of your earnings to saving for the future. If there's one thing I know is you don't want to carry high interest debt. The first thing you want to do is get off revolving credit from credit cards. Get them paid off, and if you're going to use a credit card, pay it off each month. You do not want to be paying the interest on these credit cards. Now, that's smart business that anyone can tell you. The next thing is try to live on less than you earn. I mean, it's common sense. There's no magic wand to where you can wave this and all of a sudden just go make your money, spend all of it, and think you're going to end up with a nest egg. You're going to have to do something to get it. Now, in some cases, like I said, you may can downsize your house and turn that money into investments. You may need to move from a 3-bedroom house to a 1 or 2 bedroom house, especially if your kids are gone. But you need to do something where you can convert what you have into money for investments. Acquiring wealth and building nest eggs has to be part of a lifestyle. You can't just say, oh, after I'm done, buying my boat, or after I'm done with this and that, and after I've, spent all the money I want to spend on me for enjoyment, we'll see what we have left over for retirement. You can't do that. You have to dedicate that money right off the bat. And like I said, even if it's a small amount starting out, learn to do it. Start with 5%, go to 6%, 7%, 8%, whatever it takes for you to mentally climb that ladder. You need to do it as soon as you can. But again, for us people that have waited way too late to start saving, you're going to have to start making drastic changes. So again, downsize, get some of your equity and put it in savings investments. Sell everything you can that you don't need or want any longer. Sell it. Get a budget that you can live with, but make sure that it allows for you to put money in savings. Get a part-time job, if only you use it to pay off high interest credit and build savings only. Not to touch, not to buy burgers with, not to fund any kind of luxuries with. I've never been one to tell people to live, like a pumper, just so you can have some big nest egg at the end of your life that you'll hardly ever spend. I understand the balance. I've done it myself, and I've probably done it more to the wrong side, where I indulged more than I saved. I'm guilty. A lot of us are. But at some point, you have to meet yourself halfway there. You have to have savings, and you still got to live. Now, I will say that if you take this dive if you sit down and really examine your spending, your cost of, what it costs you to live, what it costs, and especially figure out what is the basic need you need, what is the basic amount you need to pay your bills. And then, also you have to take a look at, can I find a way to downsize my expenses? Like I said, it may be moving to a smaller place. It may be selling off a car that you shouldn't have bought in the first place. There's all kinds of ways to make a big jump from a high expense life to a lower expense life. You need to figure that out. So you need to get established in a cost of living that you can afford so that you can save money. I'll tell you, one of the worst things people do is spend too much money on food. Eating out, going to the bar or whatever they do. They spend, I am guilty of this. For quite a while, me and my wife would go out to eat once or twice a week. And it's not cheap doing that. The funny thing about indulging is that once you stop getting it, doing it on a regular basis, and actually, just find some other way to to be happy without indulging in, say, eating out a lot or going, to this or that, spending this way that you spend money that you get very little value out of, but you get something out of it enough just to say you're going to keep doing it. But once you sometimes give those things up and adjust to not doing them, you stop missing them. It's just like sugar or any other addiction you have. As long as you stop doing it, you'll wean yourself off of it and you won't miss it as bad. But here's the thing. But when you purpose the money that you were blowing for a purpose that grows your wealth, that becomes your new, it feeds on itself. Once you start saving your money, cutting out the luxuries and start actually building a nest egg, then you start feeling more comfortable. You get a sense of security in you that hey, I'm not gonna, if I lose my job tomorrow, I'm not gonna lose my house and everything right away. You'll start building up money with that money. You have to dedicate whatever you're blowing. Take a look at it. If you're going out to eat once a week and spending 60, 70, 80 bucks, put that 60, 70, 80 bucks into a savings plan, or at least paying down credit cards. Something that builds your wealth. Like I said, you've heard the old latte deal. You don't need a latte. Stop going into the thing and buying a latte. Make your own coffee at home. All these little ways you can do it that, sure, you'll miss for a while not getting your special made latte. But after you stop getting it for a while and start looking at that money, boy, that's $6, $12, whatever that is that you were paying starts adding up in a savings account or bringing down your debt. You start thinking, wow, boy, that was worth it. Man, I'm getting to see my net worth is going up finally. I'm finally financially getting a little more financially secure each week. That's the whole point. So me not being a financial expert is not that big a deal. Some of this is just common sense. Stop buying stuff you don't need, turn it into investments. Sell things you don't need, turn them into investments. Downsize your spending to meet the need that you need to save money. All these things can be, that's common sense stuff. You have to do it. And like I said, once you commit to it and actually start doing it, you'll actually start reaping the rewards of that. It's like losing weight. Who wants to give up their chocolate sundaes? But when you give up your chocolate sundaes and your sugars and your fat, not fat, but your carbs and all these things that put weight on your body, and actually start losing weight and start feeling better, you think, okay, I've got a gain from giving up this. I've received something in return that I want more. And that's what you want. That's the whole point, is to try to get more out of what you're doing. Try to get more out of your money. And one of the ways you do that is by building financial security, not only in the moment, but also for your future. Once you see that start happening, it starts making it worthwhile to make the cuts and the little luxuries that you think you have to have that you'll find you don't. I'm just trying to be your cheerleader here. I just want you to do something. I want you to just get active. Do something to better your financial situation. There's a whole list of things. You can read, I've read books. When I went crazy, frugal, my thing to do was, my big thing every week was to go to Goodwill and buy a financial book for $2. And then I would read. I got a lot of satisfaction. I had gave up my golf membership at that time to just sit and read $2 books. And I do not regret it at all. So this may be what you need to do, is trade one thing for another thing that benefits you. This is one of those things I'm passionate about. I needed to do something to improve myself, and I did. Financially, physically, you have to put the effort in, get the rewards, and you'll be glad you did. Thanks for watching, and good luck.